Recording in progress.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all the members, support staff. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Chair.
Good afternoon,
Wade.
Chairperson.
Thank you. Afternoon, Marcel.
Good afternoon, Chairperson. Good afternoon, members.
Okay, I'll look at our roll call.
Chair, we do have a quorum. If you would like, we can still give members maybe 1 or 2 minutes to connect, Chair, but we do have a quorum.
Okay. 3 minutes granted. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chairperson.
Good afternoon
Good-
to all
Good
the members.
afternoon to you.
Afternoon, Chairperson.
Thank you
Good
very
afternoon,
much.
Chairperson.
Thank you. Thank you very much, members. Good afternoon to all the members and to all the support staff, the stakeholders who are here with us today. You are welcome. And today we are starting our new term. It's our first meeting that we are having after recess. And the meeting for today is the negotiating mandates from the provinces that we're going to receive. And then firstly, that to say that also the minister, just to check whether the minister or the deputy minister, do we have any of the ministers here? Or they may join us during the meeting. Will just be indicated when they are joining so that we know they are part of the meeting. Yes, without delaying any further, it's just first to say that the fundraising bill, was received in May. by the NCOP. And then it was then referred to provinces. And today provinces are going to bring their negotiating mandates. Then after that, we will have the deliberations and considerations by the adoption of the committee study tour. But before that, we will also have the provinces briefings and public hearings, then the DSD response to the mandates. After the mandates have been tabled, we will have a response, and then we will have the input from the parliamentary legal advisor, if there is any, and then we'll have deliberations from the members on anything that the members would make inputs. And then we'll have the adoption of the study tour report. I think that is the sequence that we will be having our meeting today. Without any further delay, members, we will have our reports, which will be flagged on the screen on alphabetical, starting with the Eastern Cape, Free State, Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, Limpopo, Mpumalanga, Northern Cape, Northwest, and then Western Cape. That is the sequence of the alphabetical. Can we have a proposal for the adoption of the agenda?
Ntube stand to adopt the agenda, Chairperson.
Honorable Ntube is proposing to adoption of the agenda. Any seconder?
Nkosi is seconding, Chair.
Honorable Nkosi is seconding. Thank you very much. So our agenda is being adopted. Then we can then get the mandates, negotiating mandates. Can it be put on the screen? Ms. Ndongeni? Can we have any apologies? Can somebody assist us with the apologies? Any apologies? We have adopted the agenda, but let's just check on the apologies.
Chairperson, we received an apology from Honorable Letuli. She's unavailable for the meeting today. Thank you, Chair. As well as the
Thank you
State Law Advisor.
Okay, thank you very much. Honorable Ndongeni? Eastern Cape? Can we flag it?
Chair, afternoon. Afternoon, Chair.
Afternoon, Honorable Ndongeni.
Okay, in Eastern Cape, the provinces vote in favor of the bill. But there's a proposal amendment is as follows. I don't know whether I can read it or not.
Yeah, just to have a synopsis on what, just to have a synopsis on it.
Okay, in clause 2A of the bill, substitution of section 17 of Act 107 of 1978. The clause 2A be amended as follows. 3, a board shall consist of not more than 10 members through a process of public involvement, of whom at least one half shall be appointed on a full-time basis. And then general comments, the report of the portfolio committee attached here for the highlights, other issues raised by stakeholders relating to the bill before the portfolio committee, and are matters that ought to be given serious consideration by the Department of Social Development. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable Ndongeni. I already refer to the province also. If I don't get a member from the province, that's the Eastern Cape. Can we then have Free State?
Thank you very much, Chairperson of the committee. Free State vote in favor of the bill, Chairperson. Thank you very much. That's it.
Thank you, Honorable Tsube. Gauteng Province.
Mbulelo Baka.
Honorable Baka, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah,
Yes,
Vakala.
we have Vakala. Yeah, Vakala.
Thank you so
Honorable.
much.
Yes.
Thank you so much. The Gauteng Provincial Legislature is supporting the fundraising amendment bill, subject to the amendments below being considered. One, in clause 2, the composition of the board, including, just give me a sec, Chairperson, I'm sorry, just a second. Thank you so much. The composition of the board, including the requirements and its responsibilities, needs to be clarified to avoid confusion among the members of the public. Though some of these matters are stated in the existing legislation, such as the Companies Act and the Public Finance Management Act, which sets out fiduciary duties and legal consequences, it will be beneficial for this section to be synchronized with the relevant section on the Companies Act to avoid any interpretation issues. The selection of the board members should be transparent and not include government officials, members of political parties, but community members, social workers, and a knowledgeable legal practitioner. All must have no vested interest. In clause 4, there needs to be parameters to clarify the authority of the minister. And those are the few additional comments by Gauteng Chair, but Gauteng does support the bill. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Baka. We go to KwaZulu-Natal. KwaZulu-Natal.
Thank you very much, Chair. KwaZulu-Natal representative is not here. I will read the negotiating mandate.
Yes, accepted.
Thank you very
Accepted,
much, Honorable Chair. Greetings to your good self, the support staff, and my colleagues in the platform. The KwaZulu-Natal province, Honorable Chair, is in support of the fundraising amendment bill, with the amendment attached here to in the report of the committee. I think the committee will read all the amendments raised by the KZN. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Nkosi. On behalf of KwaZulu-Natal, Limpopo.
Thanks, Chairperson. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, Honorable Chabaleng.
Oh, yeah. And members, the Limpopo legislature, provincial legislature, has considered the bill and conferred its mandate to the permanent delegate to the NCOP to vote in favor of the bill. Of course, with the following amendment, that is clause 4. It goes like, in order to ensure certainty, the clause must be amended to provide for a specific time frame within which disbursement of funds and provision for social assistance must be done, rather than within reasonable time. They want the specifications. Time must be specified. And most of the comments received from the stakeholders were found not to be neither relevant to the bill nor specific to any of the 9 clauses of the proposed bill. Limpopo supports this. Thanks a lot. Bye, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Chabaleng. Mpumalanga.
Thank you, Chairperson, once again. The Portfolio Committee on Health and Social Development, after considering the fundraising amendment bill, confers on the permanent delegate representing Mpumalanga province in the NCOP a mandate to negotiate in favor of the bill without any proposed amendment. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nkosi. Northern Cape.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. After due deliberation, the Portfolio Committee on Health and Social Development of the Northern Cape supports the bill. However, they did raise some comments by the public. I don't know if you want me to read them, Chairperson.
You may make comment.
The bill is not clear regarding the following: assistance to victims of violence in the Social Relief Fund. That was last active in 2001, the establishment of the Disaster Relief Fund and National Social Development Fund, and to transfer any remaining funds to the Disaster Relief and National Social Development Fund to aid victims of disaster in poor communities. The provision of funds to organizations aiding victims of violence and natural disasters. And lastly, the provision of short-term relief to members and dependents of the SANDF who suffer hardship. So those were the comments made by the public that the bill was not clear on. However, the Northern Cape supports the bill, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Christians. Northwest. Northwest.
Yes, Chair. Thank you.
Yes.
The Northwest Province Legislature votes in favor of the fundraising amendment bill. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Northwest. Let's then go to the last province, which is 9th province, Western Cape. I will give it now. I am responsible. But let me say that the Western Cape negotiating mandate, the Standing Committee on Social Development, having considered the subject of the fundraising amendment bill, Bill 29B 2002, NCOP, referred it to in accordance with Standing Rule 217, confers on the Western Cape's delegation in the NCOP the authority to support the bill. That is signed by the chairperson, Mr. G. Plato, for the Standing Committee in the Western Cape. So then, members, in terms of the negotiating mandates, all provinces, 9 provinces are supporting in terms of the negotiating mandates. Then from this step, we will go to final mandates in our next meeting. But first, before that, we will get a comments from the department, if there are any comments from the department. Any comments from the department?
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair. Luyanda is speaking. Yes, there are comments from the department. If I may flight the presentation, if I can be given powers.
Yes, you may. Okay, Luyanda, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Chair. I hope the presentation is visible on your side.
Yes, visible.
The Department of Social Development, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members, good afternoon. Let me first greet and then indicate that we highly appreciate the mandates as has been given by the provinces, and also to indicate that there are a number of comments that have been received, which are similar, which we have just grouped into one. And with regard to other comments, we have taken note that they are more on service delivery, as Honorable Baha has indicated from Gauteng. They do not necessarily speak to the clauses of the bill as presented. So the inputs from the Free State, we just zoom into the key comments that have been received, which speak to the bill itself. With regard to the comment from the Free State, we have noted that the Disaster Relief Fund must accommodate every citizen, of which this is the position with regard to this bill. We have taken note of what they have indicated, and also the issue of the time frame where it is indicated that we must not say the response will be given within a reasonable period of time. And we are indicating that the word reasonable, as in this bill, is more appropriate because disaster takes different shapes and sizes. It would not be proper to say the department must respond within 2 days, 3 days, a week, or month or so, because we will be assuming that the nature of the disaster is the same. But there are disasters that need us to respond within a second. There are disasters that need us to respond within a week or within a month, depending on their nature. So the word reasonable remains relevant under the circumstances. We also took note of the fact that the board must include important stakeholders of the society, and that is exactly what is going to happen, because the board, when the vacancies are available, they will be advertised in the newspapers, and the criteria will be set there in terms of who is eligible to be a board member, taking into consideration issues of one not having a criminal record or being insolvent and all those kind of things. So we've taken note of that comment and we will be dealing with that accordingly. Again, with the issue of the comments from Gauteng, one of the comments is more of a question that does not clearly indicate the difference between this particular legislation that we are proposing and the Disaster Management Act. And we are saying this particular legislation focuses on the role of social development, and the Disaster Management Act focuses on the broader disaster management across the country, and is not one of the pieces of legislation that we are amending. We are only amending the fundraising amendment bill in respect of the disasters that relate to the mandate of social development. And again, there is a request that the bill make provision for the prioritization of the NPOs. And we are saying, yes, that is what the board will be doing, because the board will have powers in terms of this piece of legislation and in terms of their fiduciary duties as in the PFMA as to how they deal with this. So it's not necessarily, it's not that there is a need to amend any clause in this particular bill with regard to that. Again, the issue of the composition of the board, which must include the requirements and its responsibilities. Yes, we are saying that the functions of any board and any legislation in the country in terms of the PFMA, they are there. They also have the fiduciary duty. So our indication is that it is not the intention of the department or the parliament to rewrite the existing law. It is simple to ensure that it is not duplicating what is already in existence, because the PFMA, the King report, and all such other instruments, they do determine as to what or how the board should operate or govern itself. And the issue around the parameters, because there is also a proposal on clause 4 that says there is a need to be, that there must be a parameter to clarify the authority of the minister. Yes, this particular legislation is very clear, because this provision that we are amending in the Act, we are saying the powers of the minister as an executive is not clear. It is just, the Act is just silent on that. So we are trying to clarify that. So it is the purpose of this bill to ensure that there is clarity. So we have taken note of that. and it has already been covered. And with regard to the comments that we received from Mpumalanga, which indicates that there should be no nepotism, the board must work collectively with the department and all that, we are saying we've taken note of the comments, and we are hopeful that every board member, they understand that they must act in a responsible way, because they take an oath and their powers are in terms of the PFMA, and they must also understand the King report as to how they should conduct themselves. And with regard to the issue that has been raised, that there must be no discrimination in receiving assistance. Yes, there is no discrimination indeed, because this legislation, if it would provide for a discrimination or a gap of discrimination, then it would not be complying with the Constitution. So there is no possibility of unfair discrimination in terms of this particular bill. That has been taken care of. Otherwise, it would not have been certified as constitutional by the State Law Advisor, if that was the case. Otherwise, we do understand the concern, the issues and all that, but the legislation is tight as it has been drafted in that particular fashion. With regards to Northwest, we have also taken note of the comments that indicate that the bill must enhance transparency through including provisions that require regular and transparent reporting of the allocation and utilization of funds. And that is what the fiduciary duty is all about in terms of the PFMA. And it is also what the King report speaks to, issues of transparency and all that with regard to the members of the board. So we have taken note of that, and these comments do not necessarily indicate that we have to effect any changes in the bill itself, because they have already been taken care of. Otherwise, they fall outside the scope of the bill. And again, another comment that has been raised is that community sought clarity on the length of term of office for the board and how many board members serve in the board. And this is what this bill is talking about, because it says there must be 10 members as opposed to 15, which is the current scenario. And that is the length on the term of office. This cannot be indicated. All these issues will be in the regulations that talk to the operational part or the operationalization of this particular bill. And all these will be determined there, and people will know what exactly is expected. With the comments from KZN, which we've also taken care of, which indicate that the board, the issues of broad-based empowerment act must be taken into account when the board is dealing with the disbursement of funds and all that. And we say we agree, but this is not a matter that can necessarily be part of the clauses of this bill, because the members of the board themselves, they know that they have to comply with Section 217 of the Constitution when dealing with issues of procurement. They need to deal with the Preferential Procurement Framework Act. They need to ensure that the funds are utilized in the manner that is expected, and also comply with any other prescripts. So this is already there. So the duty of the drafters is not necessary to rewrite, as I indicated in the beginning, the existing law, to indicate that all these issues have already been covered and cannot be repeated in this. Otherwise, it would be problematic to have a legislation of that particular nature. And again, with the issue of amendment of clause 2, which indicates that there must be the inclusion of the youth and members of NPO as part of the board. There's the criteria for the members of the board, which they must comply with in order to be appointed as members. We will be there in the regulations, and is It's not a different scenario from the scenario that we have in the country with regard to the appointment of any board member in the boards that we already have. So all these issues are already taken care of. The issues of representativity in terms of the youth, women, people with disabilities, and all that. That is already included in how issues are dealt with when members of the board are appointed. Again, with the issue of ensuring that the youth benefit from the disbursement of funds, yes, this is also the issue of the preferential procurement I was referring to, which is also governed by Section 217 of the Constitution in terms of fairness, competitiveness, and all that as indicated in the principles that are there. With regard to the comments from the Northern Cape, we have taken note of what they have indicated with regard to assistance to victims of violence, the establishment of the Disaster Relief Fund, and the transfer of any remaining funds. Yes, this particular bill does speak to the transfer of funds or in all these funds that are getting to be dissolved into one fund. And the issue of assistance to victims, yes, this is not necessarily differentiating between victims of violence and victims, because this is another territory that is governed by other pieces of legislation that the department is busy with. When we speak to assistance of victims of violence, this one we are talking to victims of disaster in terms of this particular piece of legislation. We do have a bill that is still to come before your good selves, honorable members and honorable chair, which speaks about the Victim Support Services Bill. And all these issues about victims will be dealt with in that particular legislation. And again, with regard to further comments, where there is a need that the person has got a challenge, and then all these issues that have to be dealt with, they are part of the stories that we got to hear about, which are more of service delivery, not necessarily part of what we are supposed to do in terms of incorporating comments in the bill. With regard to the comments from Limpopo, as has just been presented in this particular platform, we have also taken into account that there must be certainty, the clause must be amended to provide for a specific time frame, which we indicated initially that it is not easy to say the response time, the turnaround time will be 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, because it will depend on the nature of the disaster itself, as other disasters may necessitate a quick turnaround time, a minute or 2 minutes, an hour, a day or so. So the word reasonable that has been used is the word that is much ideal under the circumstances. Otherwise, if we were to say, for an example, the Department of Social Development must respond within 30 days, and we are talking about somebody who is drowning in terms of the disaster in KZN, for example, who needs sniffer dogs within the next 2 minutes to go and search for that body, it will not be possible to have a time frame. It would just be appropriate to say within a reasonable period of time. With regard to the comments from the Western Cape, we have taken note of the comments, and we are saying, yes, the comments indeed have been taken into account when developing this bill, because the comments that we have received now are more or less the same as the comments that we received initially when we published this bill as a department. Otherwise, we have taken note of that. And with regard to the Eastern Cape, the comments that they are raising, we have also taken note of that, where the proposal in clause 2A of the bill, that the clause must be amended to say the board must shall consist of not more than 10 members, which is the case through a process of public involvement, of which, yes, the process is indeed inclusive of the public, because when the minister advertises the positions for the board members, this will be in a public newspaper. It will spell out who exactly is expected to be a board member, and those who have been nominated will be nominated by members of the public, and the whole process will be transparent and will be taking care of this particular concern that the Eastern Cape is suggesting. Basically, these are the responses, Honorable Chair, that we have as a department, but taking into account that we do not have any of these proposals per se that have got an impact on the current version of the bill, where we would have to amend the clauses of the bill, because of the explanations that we are trying to give, that all these issues, important as they are, as they have been given, but they have also been taken care of by either by other pieces of existing legislation or by operation of law, or these issues have already been built into the provisions that we actually have in the proposed bill before your good selves, Honorable Chair, Honorable members. I thank you on that note.
Thank you very much to the department. Very comprehensive and detailed explanations on the comments of the provinces. Let me take this opportunity to welcome the minister in the select committee meeting of Committee of Health, NCOP. I will just be, the minister will be given an opportunity also to make comments. You're welcome, Minister. And then first, before, let me check with the legal advisor. Are there anything on advising? We had the comments. Anything from the legal advisor? Okay, if not, then we will then have deliberations by the members. But before I give to the members, let me first give an opportunity. Minister, all provinces are supporting the bill, all 9 provinces. And where now we were dealing with the comments from the provinces, is where we are now. And then we'll now have the deliberation of the members, whereby we'll first give to the minister to make an input.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. My network is not very good, so I will just show my face that yes, it's me. It's not a robot, and I'll have to switch off the camera. Yes. Yes. Can you hear me?
You can hear you, Minister?
Yes, Minister.
Loud and clear, Minister.
Oh, thank you very much. I was saying my apology. Firstly, I was saying I have to switch off the video because the network is not looking very good. And so I would like to first and foremost thank you, honorable members, for this opportunity. The presentation, as has been done, we went through it, myself as well as the department. We have been going through this, and I think it's important that we note, especially because we can see that issues of disasters are beginning to visit us too often, whether it's man-made disasters or whether it is also due to climate change and all the changes that are happening. I think we need to strengthen our systems of disaster management. And therefore, when you have in front of us this particular amendment bill, it's important that we get the comments that will also come from the public. So it gives me a great pleasure really to respond to the inputs that have been received from the stakeholders during the NCOP public hearings on the fundraising amendment bill. As I said earlier on, I hope my apology was submitted. I had a doctor's appointment, and so when we changed the time, I unfortunately could not change, but I've been listening to the presentations on my way. And therefore, I don't want to talk quite a lot, safe to say that, which has been raised already, the Fundraising Act of 1978 dates back to the apartheid era and is not aligned with the latest legislative provisions and best practices. And various portions of the Act have been repealed when the NPO Act 71 of 1997 was promulgated. And so currently on the portions dealing with the relative relief funds remain applicable. But as a result, it is not aligned with the latest legislative provisions. And I think that in the presentation, and especially from the provinces, the presentations that have been made, they cover all the issues that are expected to be covered. I've already indicated that the disasters that are befalling us all the time needs us to be able to have very responses. The responses must really have a greater impact on ensuring that those that are affected, the pain and the loss, whether it's of human lives or whether it's of material loss, people must be assisted without a delay. And therefore, it is important, particularly in the current context where the country is experiencing these significant challenges, for us to speed up the process. The bill, I'm sure it was indicated, was approved by Cabinet for introduction to Parliament in October 2020 after several iterations over the years. Then following this, the department briefed the Portfolio Committee on the Fundraising Amendment Bill in 2021, and the Fundraising Amendment Bill was tabled and adopted by the National Assembly on the 28th of September 2022. And now the bill is here with the NCOP so that there can be a conduct of the public hearings, and subsequently these were conducted on the bill, and officials of the department are here to respond to the negotiation mandate. And the presentation has been made already. I will continue to listen to further discussions as yes, I joined late, but I caught quite a sizable amount of information throughout the presentation. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Thank you very much. And it's also greatly appreciated for you to be at the committee because your inputs are available, and we are really appreciating that. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister and the department. And then now we will, from the members, are any comments from the members? Any comments from the members? If not, our next step with the bill, we will refer it now back again to provinces for their final mandates, which I believe will be within the next 2 weeks, that provinces have their final mandates, and then we'll come back and have the reports from the mandates. Then I think the department, we want to thank you very much. We can excuse the department. I think that it will be going forward in terms of the bill, is that we will have our final mandates. Minister, thank you very, very much. Greatly appreciated.
I can now go back to the National Assembly to the President's questioning. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Greatly appreciated. Okay.
Chairperson.
Hello.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to check. Aren't we adopted the report presented? Maybe
Okay,
before
right.
you close
thank you.
before you close the meeting.
Yeah, thank you very. No, I'm not closing the meeting. I was just, is it the study tour report you're referring to?
Yes, but I think it's
Nkosi?
proper for us to adopt the report presented before we move to the next one.
No, the next point now on the agenda is the study tour. Are we together? Hello, members?
Thank you, Chair.
We are still
Right.
here.
Yes, yes. Okay. The next point now, members, we are on the study tour. That we have to adopt the report of the study tour. That's where are we now. I was just releasing the department at that time. Now we are here, members. Hello. Members, we went to South Korea. It's the Select Committee of Health, joint study tour of the two committees, Health and Education. And now that the report was circulated between the members, and we are tabling the report now here in front of the committee, so that the report to be adopted by the committee formal to make it a legal document. Are there any comments from members? Any comments there? Are the attendants, the members who went to the tour, arrival in South Korea, meetings held during the visit? Part 2 was the background of the report. Can move on with the slide. Yeah, Korea NHI system. Can move on. Okay, can move on. Korea stakeholders. NHI and the HERA. Part 3, the background. Korea education system. Can move on. Korea Education Development Institute. Part 4, health sector focus. Education sector focus. Recommendations. Those are the recommendations of the report. Part 5, the conclusion. Then we'll have the appreciation. Just stop there to say that the delegation led by Mr. Injad MP, Chairperson Select Committee on Health and Social Services, and Mr. Ian Chablane, Mr. Peach, Chairperson Select Committee on Education and Recreation, would like to thank all stakeholders for the support given during the study tour. Having undertaken the study tour to the Republic of Korea, the Select Committee recommended that the House endorse the joint study tour report of Select Committee on Health and Social Services and Education and Recreation. Yes, and then that is the report. Okay, members, is there any proposal for the adoption of the report? We were all there. Yes, Honorable Ndongeni.
I propose that the report must be adopted.
Thank you, Honorable Ndongeni. Are there any seconder?
Chair, Honorable Nkosi, I second Honorable Ndongeni and thank all the members. It was a great and successful study tour. We really want to thank everybody participated. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Nkosi, who's the whip of the committee. Thank you for the input. Thanking all the members. Members, then we have adopted the report of the study tour to Kuria. And then our next meeting now, can we get, Marcel, can you assist us?
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, members again. Ms. Ndongeni, good afternoon.
Here she's laughing.
Chairperson and members,
And,
the next step is for us for legislatures then to come back with the final mandate. Our meeting is scheduled for Tuesday the 19th. Next week is provincial week. We will hear from the provinces if they are able to sit to do a final mandate by Tuesday the 19th. If not, Chair, we would have to look at maybe meeting on the Friday to give the legislatures a chance to have their meetings on the final mandates, and then we finalize the bill. Thank you, Chair. The bill has obviously now been, negotiating mandates have been passed without amendments, so the bill won't change. The bill will stay in the form that it is in, as explained by the DST. So on the 19th, we'll come back with final mandates and finalize the bill. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Kamsamida.
Kamsamida.
Honorable Chabaleng, you are in South Korea. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, honorable members, and thank you very much to the support staff, the secretariat of the committee. This is work well done. And I believe that we have come to the end of our meeting of today. And
sorry, Chair, before you close. Sorry, before you close. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Chair.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine, Honorable.
On the 19th, me and Honorable Nkosi will not be here. But can we give Michelle to read the mandate of Eastern Cape and Mpumalanga, if possible?
Can we maybe arrange, Honorable Ndongeni, for other members to read those the other mandates, as we have done now with KwaZulu-Natal? Honorable Nkosi was reading on behalf of KwaZulu-Natal, that you will just share it between the other members.
Okay, it's fine, Chair.
All right.
Just note on that. Michelle, please note on that.
Yes, Ms. Ndongeni, I note that. Thank you. Kamsamida.
You're sorry. Okay, sorry, Chair.
Thank you very much, members. Yes, and then the meeting have come to its end and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Baga.
Thanks, Chairperson.
Thank you, my whip. Thank you very much.